as a well-known example. Now, something like 50% of Google's new products and services the year before last were created during this 20% time.
Flexible hours, self-managed projects, market analysis, collaborative customers, open innovation, exciting accountability are some of the multiple triggers that thrust Google up to the top as the brightest star in the business universe, and at the same time bring down to earth the quintessential threads that weave into a complex whole, the beating heart of innovation. When trying to discover milestones in the history of business and innovation, nothing better than following the General Electric timeline back to the very beginning with Thomas Alva Edison, its mentor, founder, and manager. The great inventor, the Wizard of Menlo Park, is another example of that miraculous phenomenon surrounding the concept of innovation until today. Edison did not come up with more than 1,000 inventions. He created a whole new industry.
We tend often to confuse and conflate invention and innovation. Invention is about the creation of new forms of value, frequently for their own purposes.
You could invent something wonderful. It's an invention, but nobody ever uses it. It's still an invention, but it's not an innovation. Innovation has to be used.
So the reason that this definition of innovation is interesting is because it embeds the idea of foresight directly in the definition.
This is all about the next paradigm in how to create business value and how to monetize that value.
How do I match ideas and talent, or ideas and resources to get things done? Well, traditionally, if you had an idea, you fought your way up through the hierarchy, they controlled all the resources.
I mean, people thought the telephone was going to revolutionize education in the United States. That was the first idea. Alexander Graham Bell thought people will deliver university lectures like this, which meant that the invention of voice telephony, the original idea for it was the invention of mass telephony, totally aimed at the wrong sector.
Just as Edison went to businessmen and investors to help him take his lamp from the laboratory to the market and create General Electric, today we should take innovation beyond the new product or the new technology. Innovation is about inventing business processes, transforming the essence of organizations, building entirely new markets that meet untapped customers' needs.
And so people have so much stuff, so many of their basic functional utilitarian needs have been satisfied and oversatisfied, that you either have to create something that the world didn't know it was missing, or infuse purely functional utilitarian products, services, experiences with design, with story, with meaning, with emotion.
The only way we knew how to coordinate and control was with standard operating procedures and hierarchy. You rein in people. So the question is this a zero-sum game, right? Is this just an inevitable trade-off?
Send us people who can think, who can toggle between the left and right brain, who have communication skills, who understand the business context, who have a design sensibility.
It's a totally different kind of conversation than business people normally have.
What I want to know is you're aligned, you're in the stores every day, you're talking to the customers, you're inspiring those employees, you're making it easier for them to do their jobs, you're giving them more discretion to fix the problems that need fixing. Then I have some chance you can turn this thing around.
If you put people in multi-functional teams, or multicultural teams, or multilingual teams, those collision of perspectives produces breakthroughs.
How much do you think that innovation is worth to Intel? Right? Is it worth $1 billion, $10 billion, $100 billion?
If you go back over the last 100 years, learning how to make things with perfect quality, perfect replicability, this is an amazing human accomplishment, and it's just unprecedented. So let's be very proud. Let's celebrate the fact we've done this. But now's the time, to move on.
Quality and efficiency have been the key success factor, but the most admired CEOs of the century realized that it wasn't enough and moved a step forward. Innovation, the mirror of great management.
All part of a system. You know, if you talk to at least what I believe are some of the most progressive companies today, and you talk to their leaders, and I'm thinking about people like Richard Branson or John Mackey at Whole Foods, they will tell you again and again that employees come first, customers come second, and shareholders come third.
If you're going to look at the future for sources of innovation, specifically new places where demand is going to happen, who are the people you need to talk to?
You know, shareholders don't create any value, any wealth, whatever. In fact, legally, they are the residual claimants.
You know what? It's not about you. It's about the customer. It's about your client. It's about your teammate. And that sort of outer directed perspective of how do I solve my client's problem? How do I solve my customer's problem?
All of us want to make some kind of difference. But I think the challenge is, whatever you're doing, you have to commit yourself to a problem that looks almost insurmountable, that looks much bigger than you are. You have no right to even think you're going to change it. But if you have the guts to do that, you wake up every morning kind of knowing that you have to do more, you have to figure out some way of tackling this, you need a different approach, you need to be able to leverage other people.
So what I look for is the willingness to take chances, the willingness to sort of embrace messiness, to have lots of small failures, and out of that, presumably, a few big successes.
That, I think, is this fundamental human yearning, and the more we're driven by that, the more we're driven by the desire to leave some kind of imprint, I think the better work we'll do.
Companies today are confronted with a new set of challenges that cannot be met with the old management model. Companies are challenged to be much more adaptable, to change more rapidly, more deeply than ever before.
That's one opportunity among dozens of opportunities.
You have to be a catalyst leader on this, and that's a big part of it. And you also have to, in some ways, it's sort of the education of letting people know about what they actually can and cannot do.
If you want to get the best people working for you, the smartest, most motivated people, you actually have to create a climate that really encourages people to give their very, very best.
Forget, borrow, and learn. The three challenges of strategic innovation if you want, since you run a business, to be profitable. Procter & Gamble forgot and transformed its traditional in-house research and development process into an open-source innovation strategy. Alibaba borrowed and married Yahoo to become the biggest e-company in China. And there are companies that constantly learn, like Starbucks and Nokia, and their ethnography programs to discover new market and customer segments in which to grow. Or IBM, which is continuously learning from the newest resources of open innovation, those that are changing the way we live, work, lead, manage.
It's about creating a culture of enablement rather than a culture of control. And you can still control things, but you have power through people rather than power over people.
You really have to have people who are sort of honest participants in the community. IBM, in its pursuit of Linux software, open source software, actually has people who participate in the Linux community and adhere to its norms.
Microsoft has been competing with free for a long time. Microsoft has Office and it has its operating systems, etc. now, and is competing with open source, Linux and Apache and Firefox, etc.
I think we all want to do something that outlasts us. I think we all want proof that we were here. We all want to do something that says, but for my presence in this world, this would not exist.
It's just not true that most of these are volunteer communities where nobody's making money. And IBM makes money from Linux because it saves itself $1 billion a year developing its own proprietary operating system. And it's created a platform upon which it's built a multi-billion-dollar business.
It's been very interesting to see what's going on with the low-cost carriers in Europe, the airlines. Ryanair,